Good evening. My name is Jasmine Wigfall. I'm the Legislative Director of Social Security Works, and welcome to our Soar office hours for the month of October. This month is really exciting because we finally get to reveal to you one of the expansion bills that we have been working on behind the scenes for quite a while, and it's finally ready. And today it has been introduced by Congressman John Larson of Connecticut and Senator Richard Blumenthal, also of Connecticut. That bill is called the Social Security 2100, a Sacred Trust Act. Now, this name will sound very familiar to those of you who have been following our work for a long time. It is a new version of what was the Social Security 2100 Act for the past several Congresses. This updated bill includes even more expansions than it included before. And so today we're going to take some time, run through a lot of the provisions, not all of them, and then give you all a sense of what you can do moving forward to ensure this bill has a chance at passing through Congress. So let's jump right in to provision number one. Very key provision for any expansion bill. It has to include an increase across the board for current and future beneficiaries. An across the board increase just means that everybody's benefits go up because of a change in the benefit formula. And so we're thrilled that this bill includes that across the board increase. Next up, this bill also includes a cost of living adjustment increase. That means that instead of the calculation that's currently used to create the cost of living adjustment, instead, a basket of goods that more accurately reflects the goods that seniors purchase would be used to create the cost of living adjustment, therefore, making sure the cost of living adjustment is more accurate in years to come. As you know, Social Security beneficiaries will receive a 5.9% increase in their Social Security benefits next year. That's quite a good increase, one that's larger than anything we've seen for several years, but it's frankly not enough. The costs of healthcare continue to rise, food and housing continue to cost more and more each year, and seniors have been left behind year after year, not receiving much of a cost of living adjustment. And so just 1 year doesn't make up for the several years of not receiving a large cost of living adjustment. We believe changing to this new calculation for the cost of living adjustment will be better for seniors and better for beneficiaries moving forward. Next up, this bill improves the minimum benefit. There is a minimum benefit for those who are extremely low income and receive the smallest Social Security benefits. That minimum benefit will be raised if the Social Security 2100 Act becomes law. Up next, we have an effort to improve the benefit for widows and widowers. Upon losing a spouse, widows and widowers often only have a half of what they would have received with their spouse alive. And so this bill makes an effort to make sure that widows and widowers receive more than they would have currently if they lose a spouse, so that they can maintain their living arrangements better than they would today. Another key provision is restoring the student benefit to age 22. Now, we know that there are many children who receive Social Security because their parents pass away and they are left as survivors. Those children receive benefits currently up to age 18, but at one point, those students were receiving benefits through age 22. So they were receiving support all the way through their undergraduate years of college. Unfortunately, like I said, the law has changed, but the Social Security 2100 Act restores that benefit so that students are receiving Social Security throughout their entire college in their entire educational career. Next up, and very related again to children, is improving access to Social Security for children who live with their grandparents. We are all familiar that families have all different kinds of makeup. And so when children live with their parents, they could often receive Social Security for various reasons. But when they live with their grandparents, sometimes it's a little more complicated. And so Congressman Larson had the forethought to see that this provision that is supported by Congressman Danny Davis in the House should also be included in the Social Security 2100 Act so that Social Security is supporting families of all type. Now, the next provision I know is a favorite for so many of you who are participating in SOAR. I know that you will be excited that it has been included in the Social Security 2100 Act, and I'm excited to share with you that repealing the WEP GPO is a part of this legislation now. That's a new provision. It would ensure that people who are public servants, think firefighters, teachers, people who receive pensions, are also able to receive their Social Security benefits, that they are not offset for some unfair reason. And so we're excited, that, like I said, that this has been included. We are hopeful that it broadens the support for this legislation because this is such a popular provision. Next, we have ending the 5-month waiting period for Social Security disability insurance. There is no reason that people should have this sort of delay in receiving their benefits when they are eligible to receive them. And so we, again, are really happy that Congressman Larson and that Senator Blumenthal included this provision in their new legislation. Next up is a provision that I think is really special, is ensuring that the oldest beneficiaries receive an increase in their benefits. In my family, we definitely honor our elders, and we want to make sure that they are treated special in their oldest years. And so increasing benefits for beneficiaries who have been receiving Social Security for over 20 years is just one way that we can ensure that we are honoring our elders and making sure that they can live in dignity in their retirement years. Next, we want to highlight the Caregiver Credit. This is a provision that helps primarily women who often take time off from the workforce to take care of children or maybe to take care of their older parents. But either way, they lose those working years, which are critical toward calculating their Social Security benefits. And so, this provision, that again is a new one in the 2100 Act, would ensure that beneficiaries who are forced to take off time to take care of children, to take care of other loved ones, are compensated accordingly with their Social Security benefits so that they don't lose that credit for taking time off to do something that's just really a great service to our community, to really take the time off to care for our loved ones. And then we move on to the provisions that are geared toward the Social Security Administration. We've talked many times in this office hour setting, as well as in our SOAR Digest, about things that SSA can be doing better to support beneficiaries. And one of the most important is to restore the mailing of Social Security statements. So, right now, SSA is only mailing statements to older beneficiaries, but by law, they should be sending these Social Security statements to every worker over the age of 25, and they should be mailing them physically to you. So, this legislation would clarify that law, making sure that SSA is sending the Social Security statement in the mail. Another SSA related provision is that this bill wants to make sure that SSA does not close field offices for any reason at all that's unwarranted. This is a provision that has been championed by Representative Gwen Moore of Wisconsin. She had field offices closed in her district, and quite frankly, we didn't know why they were being closed, and didn't like the responses that we got as to reasons why the offices should be closed. We didn't think they were good enough, neither did she, and neither did Congressman Larson or Senator Blumenthal. And so they've decided to include in this bill provisions to make sure the SSA has to prove why they need to close a field office if they close a field office. In actuality, we should be opening more field offices. More people are retiring, more beneficiaries need help from SSA. And so we pay for good service and we deserve good service. And SSA should make sure that field offices are open and that they are ready for people to receive the service that we paid for. Now, the question that follows after you go through all of these provisions, which again, I did not even name all of the provisions in the 2100 Act. That is how expansive this legislation is. But the question that follows is, how do we pay for this? And much like all of the other expansion bills that we've talked about throughout our SOAR course and in our SOAR digest, this bill pays for these provisions by ensuring that the wealthiest among us are paying their fair share into Social Security. Consistent with President Biden's commitment not to raise taxes on anyone who's making below $400,000, Congressman Larson and Senator Blumenthal included in their bill a provision to scrap the cap on those who are making over $400,000. That means that people who were previously not paying into Social Security for part of the year will now pay into the system to ensure that we can pay for all of these expansions. We can make sure the trust fund is solvent for even longer than it is currently. And we will also give Congress a chance to act and make sure that these provisions can become permanent one day. One of the changes to this bill that is a little different from what was previously done in the 2100 Act is that the provisions are sunset after a period of time. That means that they are not permanent. But we believe that this is absolutely a step in the right direction. We believe that taking the opportunity to push all of these expansions forward is giving Congress a chance to prove that they really don't want to cut benefits like they claim on both sides of the aisle. Democrats and Republicans consistently say that they don't want beneficiaries to lose benefits. And so this bill gives everyone an opportunity to act, to expand benefits, and then in the future to ensure that these benefits remain intact for generations to come. Like I said, this is just an all-inclusive piece of legislation, and we are excited for you all to have the opportunity to advocate for this piece of legislation. In the House, it is supported by over 190 Democrats. That is just an incredible number. 90% of the Democratic caucus. In the Senate, support is growing. Along with Senator Blumenthal, Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland has joined him as a co-sponsor of this legislation, and we're hoping that others will join as well. We expect that this piece of legislation could honestly move this Congress. Uh, Congressman Larson is the chair of the Social Security Subcommittee. It appears that he has the support of the Ways and Means Committee Chair, Richie Neal, and we are just hopeful that this will be the beginning of the conversation about how we can expand Social Security for beneficiaries today. And like I said, for many, many generations to come. What you can do now that you've learned more about this legislation is that when you see the co-sponsor lists that we will share with you at some point, when we share the bill numbers with you, you can check and see if you're a member of the House of Representatives or your members of the Senate are co-sponsors already of this bill. And you can, if they are not yet co-sponsors, call them and tell them you want to see them get on this bill. If they are already co-sponsors of this bill, you can call them and say thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman. Thank you, Senator, for joining this piece of legislation because it's important to me. It's important to my family. So We're going to give you all the tools for that in the SOAR digest. We'll follow up within the next couple of weeks to let you all know all the details about the Social Security 2100 Act, including ones that I wasn't able to cover today. And like I said, we are excited for you all to have the opportunity to advocate for this piece of legislation, which is just really, it has the opportunity to improve lives, improve the experience of Social Security beneficiaries across the country. As always, thank you all for joining our SOAR office hours. If you want more information about Social Security Works, you can visit us at socialsecurityworks.org. If you want to get started with SOAR, you can visit socialsecurityworks.org/SOAR. And if you have any questions about what we talked about today or anything that we've ever talked about during our SOAR course or in the digest, you can email us at soar@socialsecurityworks.org. And then lastly, we are here to advocate, and we hope that you will join us online and do a lot of digital advocacy on Facebook. So we are at facebook.com/socialsecurityworks and also on Twitter, where our handle is SSWorks. We look forward to seeing you all next month for our November office hours. Thank you for joining and stay safe. Bye.